So serendipity works like this. Leith hasn't been feeling well. He was tonight's scheduled feature. He begged out. We will reschedule him. And then this morning about 10 o'clock my phone rings, and it's Nathan here. Me and Nathan have history. So, pretty good history. And he says, I've got this poet friend, he's visiting from Australia, he's been doing and hosting readings all over the world. He's hosting a reading in Austin, Texas next week, a big festival, so everyone who had plans to be in Austin, stop by the park over by Franklin Street. Thom Peace will be hosting a big reading. Thom, world poet, is going to host himself on this stage right now.
I dedicate to Benny Zable, to Nathan and Shelley, the following small microcosm of your life, for which I have stolen from silence. If you could raise your hands in the air and repeat after me. Please. It's not going to hurt anyone except the air. Rain.
Rain.
Rain. Rain.
Rain.
Rain for us. Rain for us. Rain for us.
Rainforest.
Okay, now I have formed a love affair, of course, that you have with water. But water is in love with the trees, and the trees are in love with the sky, and the sky is in love with the oxygen, and the oxygen comes from the trees, and the trees are needing the water, and the water comes from the earth, and I think this is a group marriage. We're all in this together and we can't get divorced. It's for life. I think we're all related, so we may as well, if you could, stretch your arms out a little bit. Come on, trust me, I'm a poet. You've heard it before, but it goes like this. And repeat after me. Full moon.
Full moon.
Half the moon.
Half the moon.
The crescent moon.
Crescent moon.
Hardly any moon at all.
Hardly any moon at all.
Moonless night. Sunshine.
Sunshine.
It's actually a Tibetan greeting.
Sexy is the best.
It's actually a Tibetan greeting. Sunshine.
Sunshine.
A fence. A ladder. A house. Rain.
Rain.
We did before in the previous poem. Okay. Lightning.
Lightning.
Come on, catch up. Storm clouds.
Storm clouds.
Little puffy white clouds.
Puffy white clouds.
Rainbow.
Rainbow.
All kind of rainbows.
All kind of rainbows.
Okay, now, do you believe that you can put the moon into a bucket?
Yes.
Thank you. This poem's for you. The rest, you just have to watch, because it's poetry. Anything can happen. Watch Benny too, it goes like this. Repeat, what sound does a cat make? Meow. Whenever I mention that word, please respond as a cat would. Because I've actually formed another relationship with Mystic the cat at Nathan's home. And Mystic is a love cat, you know? Those cats that come up and say, love me, you know? And they have a different way of expressing it. I have a cat.
I have a cat.
No, you go. Meow. Thank you. Wow. Are we here? Are we actually here? Okay, we're in Woodstock, I know, which is beautiful. I'm a pilgrim for a temporary time zone because of this. I have a cat. Meow. Or rather, my neighbor has a cat. Meow. Called Sally. Meow. Did I say cat?
Meow.
Please, please. Sally is a white Persian. Very good. Likes to climb over the fence. Please use your arms, it's really good. Keeps you awake too. It's a long poem. You know, it really does keep you awake. It's important. Because I'm going to put the moon in the bucket, and that's a big surprise at the end of the poem, and no one knows where we're going to go between now and then, okay? Okay, ready? Likes to climb over the fence, sit on the rooftop, sing a cat song. Meow. It's 3 a.m. and possible full moon, balmy morning. Say the cat. Meow. Sitting on the rooftop. Okay, yeah, that's you got. Good, thank you very much. And it occurs to me, she's speaking to me. Meow, meow, get me down, Thom, get me down. I'm stuck on the roof and I can't get down. Get me down now, or I'll make your life hell. Now I decide to be Prince Gallant. I shall rescue Rapunzel from her tower. I take the small ribbon of the yellow ladder. I forgot to tell you that one. It's a surprise. Ladder, arms, really good. I know you're not used to people talking to you during poetry, but there are only people in the room. Who else can I talk to? Do you think I want to talk to them? Okay. Invisible entities, life is short, you wake up at another form and say, wow, that was a great learning experience, wasn't it? Past lives, what a man must do to survive. Don't know if it's wrong or right, since my past lives and other side. I used to be a doorknob in Egyptian coffin. I came back as a sick of incense. Napoleon Bonaparte lit me up. Ever since then, I have a karmic progression. Past lives, what a man must do to survive. Don't know if it's wrong or right, since my past lives are outside. Now, there's a woman who's not here tonight. I promised this poem to her, so you'll have to be the delegates for it. It's a spiritual guide for those who still need one. In 2014, on the first day of September. She threw me out of her place. Our stars were not aligned. My cusp was 4 degrees out. I didn't know where to go, so I consulted the tarot. Told me to throw an I Ching and blow my nose. What a surprise. The coins turned to dice, rolling and stumbling through corridors of mine. I found drug friends, junkies, uncertainties, reincarnating sheep, believing horoscopes, vegetarian, yoga, eating masters, directed my new spiritual path to an ashram where it also ran, practicing alternative, albino pope, read my palm, gave me hope, charged me $100 for my chart, said I was a good clairvoyant. Got a call on the telephone. She said, Thom, are you at home? Now we live in connubial bliss. Call me warlock. She's my witch. So, we've got the cat on the roof. It's 3 a.m. in the morning. Forget the cat. So the next one is... well, you were interested. But I look out there at a sea of smiling faces and I wonder, should I proceed? Okay, then I will. We're all in this together, right? Okay, we're all facing life as a beautiful prospect. You're in Woodstock. I began all this journey at Nimbin, which is a sister city to Woodstock, and that's where the rainforest comes in, that's where the water comes in, that's where the woods come in, that's where the love for green. I want to see some green. A beautiful hill that rolls its bones and tones into cheeky new greens, old world greens. Don't show me that TV green. I want to see those cute vegetables, that cute cucumber, that starch ripeness of avocado and pineapple. Take me there where the song of life sings for all things. I've heard its word, it sings in green. And I've noticed, Woodstock, you are a historical spot for the 1960s. I mean, forgive my saying this, but 1960 goes into 2014 just once. Okay. I'm just a child of the 1960s. All my heroes of mythology were quite simply blown away. There's young Adonis, John F. Kennedy, see him in Dallas, freeze frame repeatedly, shot through the head, blood over Jackie. They never caught his murderer, did they? Ruby and Oswald both blown away. By the time I got to Maryland, you know I wasn't the only one, but someone took her address book. We'll never know who was the one whose spirit turned the next dimension. Suicide, they say. The idea holds sway, the mafia won Marilyn Monroe blown away. Elvis Presley, that white soul seller, had to compete with some other fellow who was saying he's too fat, he's too gross, they're so cold. No one can stand to see their pop heroes grow old, so they must blow themselves away. Like Kurt Cobain and Ernest Hemingway, who both used shotguns to blow away their troubles. Janis Joplin, too, perhaps she knew no teenage would do with a middle-aged shrew, so she drank herself away. Everyone knows, well, Jimi Hendrix, the magic guitar, he's freaked out music, took us far beyond the third stone from the sun, died on the altar of everyone else's addiction. Was that you, or I, or him, Eric Clapton? You survived to win a Grammy on MTV Unplugged Sunday. As little Jimi Hendrix, it's bands in heaven, and it's blowing away, blowing away. Everyone knows the boring clones, the rolling bones, except the one called Brian Jones, floating away, drowning away. We now know that London party, he was blown away. And Jim Morrison too, and the list goes on. Everyone knows John Lennon bequeathed to us our revolution, but as he walked outside one day, even the greatest got blown away by the hands of the man with a gun in his hand, almost as famous as the son of Sam, the tried to show can't make gods a man, just get blown away. Now the sands of time have left us alone. They've made a hero of John Lennon, who sells more records now he's made of stone, but he's gone. And we're alone. Living with that chilling fear, drawing every day near that every nuclear child of light that manifests in human sight might just be a target for that awesome blight to be the last collective human sacrifice. No audience, no applause, just swept right off this dance floor to join our disposable pop-pap heroes forevermore. I say, don't you dare, don't you dare, don't you dare get blown away. So, gun control, eh? How about that? What a great thought. Is it not cruel to ask that love should play your fool? Well, place your faith in foolish men, for I have fallen yet again. Now, we're not wise to scout for our advantage, not wait for weak nor blind, nor take precautions for a rainy day. Slim, solid knife thrust slicing between the bone face, cuts between what we say we are and what we really are. To stand one-to-one with two eyes strong, the sun becomes one as no other does. It's good to be alone. To walk two by two, not arc-bound, but evening is a dream, well within our pheasanted imaginations, to link arm to arm in common dreams, in ones, in twos, in millions. Until then, I will dream serene oceans. The oceans, climate change. Don't fret my world. My world is woods and wind and water. My world is sun and moon and stars. My world is also full of colour, with human spark and human eyes. My world is dance and art. Tell me what's art so guilty of that had to be framed and hung up and crucified on walls around us so we might ignore its passionate intensities? What's art done? Petitioning us for change, and we say, not here, not now, I gave it the office, I'll fill the tip jar up later on. No. Art is still on its knees, still saying, you are art, you are art. Can you see yourselves in the mirror of art, please? Benny Zable. A little sing-along, please join me for a sing-along. Now, all poetry start, of course, with a chant and response. I really would love it if you would sing along. Just repeat after me. He's a good boy.
He's a good boy.
Good boy.
Good boy.
Always does what he's told. What he's told is good for him.
What he's told is good for him.
It's good being good. Good doing what you're told. If you do what you're told, you'll end up dead. And this flag reminds us of the fact that you need to be coloured people. We all up for colours, because I think the only way is to go beyond the visible spectrum. So this is Benny. Benny is a human example of the rainbow of our trust and hope and optimism. And this is a poem, which is another sing-along, and the chorus is very bright colours. Are you ready? Whenever I raise my hand, he raises the flag, you say very bright colours. Well, I'm walking down the streets of Woodstock, just as happy as can be, and as you can see, I'm wearing my very bright colours. Policeman in uniform wants to know what's going on. He says, Thom, you can't walk around Woodstock in 2014 dressed in very bright colours. So when I go back to my home, and then I'm on my own, it occurs to me how much poetry there may be just by wearing some very bright colours. You are delightful. How much time do we have, Michael?
Oh, about 5 minutes.
I'll talk fast. Now, I stood, Benny and I, we shared an epiphany at 41 years ago, Nimbin. Nimbin was an attempt, and it's a successful attempt, to see the beautiful things you did here transported to another continent. Now, we come from the oldest land, boomerangs in the pyramid, indigenous languages older than we'll ever be. And this is a poem for water, which is about Uluru, which is the holy altar of Australia. But you knew that anyway, so here we go. It didn't rain for 10 years, and the one day I went for the third time, it rained. I lost everything. Passport, clothes, money, everything drenched completely. I felt so happy. There were 13 waterfalls coming across the face of the rock. The rock would start off red, turned orange, then turned grey, then turned black, and then these waterfalls start pouring out. And I realized then what the primary myth of my continent is. The rainbow serpent is water. Snakes love to be around water, billabongs, water holes. Snakes like to flow like water. So this is a true story. It's called Frog Dreaming. You're welcome to join in any way, shape or form. Once at Uluru, known by you as Ayers Rock, I was taken to a sacred watering hole. Frogs lived there, black and thousands. You could not drink from the waters. The waters were sacred. Now the day was hot, and those of us who could not drink became angry at this usurpation of our dominion, for were we not the crown of all creation? Now as I turn on my metal tap in Austin, I think again of that small water hole. So small for so many black frogs to drink from. The universe in a frog's eye, the universe in a toothbrush bristle. I, like the black frog, seek sacred waters to drink from, to dream in, to drink from, to dream in, drink from, to dream in, to dream. Water. This is one of the reasons we came, because we went down and did the Hudson River Maritime Museum, memory of your late, great, wonderful Pete Seeger, and all his work, making sure the waters run pure. The water is us, the water is you. So, I did your poem. I'll do it again for you, because it's all right this week. She threw me out of her place. Our stars were not aligned. My cusp was 4 degrees out. So I didn't know where to go, so I consulted the tarot. They told me to throw an I Ching and blow my nose. What a surprise, the coins turned into dice. Rolling and stumbling through corridors of mind, I found drug friends, junkies, uncertainties, reincarnating sheep, bleeding horoscopes, vegetarian yoga-eating masters, directed my new spiritual path to an ashram where I also ran, practicing alternative albino pope, read my palm, gave me hope, charged me $100 for my chart, said I was a good clairvoyant, got a call on the telephone. She said, "Thom, are you at home? Now we live in connubial bliss, call me warlock, she's my witch." Okay. I think that's okay, the water. He wants the water, here we go. Well, we met upon the path I was cycling homeless when I saw this blue-tongued lizard lying there. She was basking, I suppose. She poked up her nose and shot a sky blue tongue in my direction. Well, I took my warning from her. It was a clear direction, and I cycled by most carefully away. But then I realized, hold on, what a surprise! This animal was telling me what to do. Now, being crown of all creation and quite skilled at self-destruction, I became quite miffed that this was now the case. So I cycled back to her, quietly basking in the sunlight, called out in English, saying, "Hey, you there!" Well, she ignored me for a while, but I swear I saw a smile stretch across her famous blue-tongued mouth. And she winked one eye at me. That was all I wanted to see. She knew what she was doing. I cycled out. Now, animals are human with a way of giving directions that makes it quite apparent to me now. We are not their masters. We are ecological disasters. The animals are simply waiting all of us out. Sure, a species disappears when we chop and clear the trees and fish out oceans and kill the rich brown earth. But that twinkle in her eye sure came as a surprise. That lizard was defending her home path. Now, if one little lizard 1,000th of my size could block my cycle path with bluff and puffing, imagine if the rest defended to their best the trees, the seas, the earth, the land and sky. Why, we wouldn't have a chance if they all began to dance. We'd be beaten with a kookaburra's laugh. And the animals would linger by the coals of our remains to make sure that we were finally down to earth. This may seem a fantasy, but all future reality seems predicated upon such small circumstance. So watch out for animals when they flash their warning signals. Maybe they're finally getting ready to kick us out. Long live the water, long live the free flow. There's Benny.
Long live the Nimbinites!
Long live. Nimbin, Woodstock.
Long live Woodstock.
One more for you. Benny is one of the most arrested people I know. No, it's true. I've just handed out to everyone who wants at the ACLU things to do if the policemen ever give you a hard time about your states of consciousness, okay? But you need to know that you are free. And if they have a mistaken apprehension, if they're going to put you in apprehension, they're completely at misapprehension, okay? That's obvious to say, but here we go. I don't know about you, but my car seems to attract an awful lot of attention. It's a sing-along again, so the chorus goes like this. That's your part. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. And I ask, why is there no revolution in 2014? Our voices have to be stronger, louder, braver. Okay, so one more chance, okay? Well, pulled over the side of the road to see if the freeway is really roadworthy, and I begin to wonder if that policeman will discover that my car is really made up of spare parts. Well, he shuffled and I stumbled, I asked to see my license, and I climb out of the car, talk to him. He puts his flashlight on, he's dressed in uniform, I can see there's no sense, try and talk sense to him. So I fool around a bit, pretend I'm not out of it. All the while he's staring at my car. Now I don't know if you noticed, but my car is made of rust. And if you lift the hood, you'll see an engine miraculous, for the oil and the dust have combined to hide the rest, and many garage mechanic has just given up. My car is quite extraordinary, never has been roadworthy, since every major system fails close inspection. But it goes like greased lightning, purrs like a house-trained cat, and it's taken many hitchhikers to their front doormat. But this policeman's not impressed and says, like all the rest, "You mean this thing is registered?" Well, I shuffle up to him, ask him how long he's been a policeman. You know the line. He swallows it quite full. He begins to talk like a recruit. I can see I've gone hooked, lined, and sunken. He talks about arrests, he talks about policemen's dresses,
He talks about the station and his wife. He talks along and hard and finally gets my head that policemen get lonely, just like all the rest. Well, an hour or two passed till he finally realised that he was late for knocking off. So he parted with a smile, a warning and a twinkle. You can fool me once, son, but never try again. Now, I'm not the sort of guy to push my luck that far. So now I drive around Woodstock in someone else's car. The moral of this story seems pretty obvious to some. If you can't spin a good story in Woodstock, perhaps it's better to stay at home. Thank you all. Thom the poet. Delighted to meet you. Thank you.
He goes by Thom.
That's it.
Then he changes his last
That's right.
name
Every time.
every day.
That's right.
Confuses those police. Thank you, Thom, so much for coming out, doing what you do. Adding a little color to the evening. Keep your passport validated and travel safely. Can you follow that? Richard Traitner, one of our more colorful local poets.
My father of 500 jobs had a problem with authority. He punched out bosses because he would not take orders from everyone. He looked to me to lead his revolution, but he was man of hand and fist and slap and violence, a physical world that's gone beyond us. We are now in digital worlds. I worked with him on the wharves. The wharves no longer exist. He was a union official. The union got him sacked. He asked them to replace the equipment which was cutting the arms off workers. They said, Viv, what do you want? We'll give you a car. We'll give you cash. But we can't afford to change the machinery. So they got him sacked. The bottom line is always this. We have survived oppression before, and freedom of expression will empower us once more.
Thanks, Thom.